I've been happy to educate thousands of millions of generations of kids, but I don't approve. You should let them sleep. It's not wrong with you.
Mrs. Kelly,
Let me
you're
tell
not
you,
allowed to touch him no more.
All that other shit was talking on that bus.
I don't care.
You see, right? Yo,
You don't call each other.
your mouth,
You
cuz.
not put your
Say it one more
face
time.
in my
Say it one more
face.
time.
You only call me you're missing your stuff.
Open the door. Open the door. Bro, open the door.
Goodbye.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time. Say it one more time. I dare you. Huh? Huh? Keep saying that. Call the police. Oh!
He smacked the tooth on my head. He put the tooth on my head. He smacked me so hard.
You should have had called him. What's up with you?
You gotta call the police now. He caught my eyeball out.
Umbrella. She's up. Whole nother level of shit you can't even understand.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another episode of The Forecast. Now, I have no idea why our people are so afraid to defend ourselves. We think of defending our elderly or our children or ourselves as blasphemous. When America makes up laws to justify themselves killing youth saying they were in self-defense. The number one excuse we've heard for so long is, I fear for my life. But if I was to say that, then all of a sudden I'm preaching hate and division. And I'm the one that's the cause of all of this racism. Meanwhile, the dominant society is starting to have another one of those violent peaks they've had throughout the history of America. It's not that they're trying to start a war, because they started a war hundreds of years ago. It's just every so often they go through periods of extreme violence. And they step up their attacks even more than usual. But if you speak up against it, then you're the racist one. But I'm not saying anything George Washington didn't tell America when it came to the British. They adopted the mindset of give me liberty or give me death. And that was just over taxes. Meanwhile, George Washington had hundreds of slaves at the same exact time. And they label him a hero. But you're called a threat. Meanwhile, today, you have white boys out here kicking 1-year-old babies and then yelling racial slurs, calling a 1-year-old baby a nigga as you run off. You have children being shot in a car with a mysterious story that doesn't really add up. What they tell you doesn't really make sense and it goes against all evidence. But they can do or say what they want because we don't have our own system that can investigate and prosecute if need be. And since we can't enforce our own rules and our own laws, they just move the goalposts whenever they feel like it. Like the case in Florida with the brother Jermaine Mcbean was shot by Broward Sheriff's office. So let's see how this brother ended up getting shot and killed by a BSO.
Local 10 has the autopsy report for the shooting death of Jermaine Mcbean. You may recall Mcbean was shot and killed by a BSO deputy after he allegedly refused to put down an unloaded air rifle.
Mcbean's family believes the autopsy proves deputies weren't telling the truth about what really happened. Local 10 News reporter Michael Seiden. The latest you'll see only on the One and Only.
Well, good evening. You know, the BSO deputy who used to work here before he was indicted by a grand jury has said that he felt threatened, left with no choice but to open fire. But tonight, the attorney representing the Mcbean family says that he has looked at this autopsy and it proves that that deputy was lying. 33-year-old Jermaine Mcbean lost his life in 2013. The computer engineer's death ruled a homicide, shot and killed by BSO Deputy Peter Peraza.
And he's carrying like what looks like some sort of BB gun, shotgun, I don't know what it is.
But the attorney for the Mcbean family says the autopsy shows that the deputy is lying.
By all accounts, he had the air rifle over his shoulders and behind his neck, hands nowhere near the trigger.
David Schoen says the ME's report proves that McBean did not point the gun at Peraza.
If he was facing Peraza and he actually had his air gun leveled, you would expect to see some markings on his arms or on the gun, the stock of the gun itself, and straight through the chest.
I can spin here, and as I spin, I'm a threat.
David Ward is a retired police chief and homicide detective who spent 4 decades in law enforcement.
The autopsy report reflects again, entry at the top of the shoulder, entry at midline, middle chest, entry. Bullets lodged down here, bullet lodged here. The trajectory is downward, consistent with a person bent over, possibly in a threatening manner. If physics doesn't allow the bullet to hit here and go this way, and there's no indication in the autopsy report that it struck anything.
I actually seen it happen.
Back in June, Local 10's Bob Norman interviewed a man who claims he saw it all.
Did he point the weapon at them?
Never did.
He never did?
Never did.
I'm telling you he pointed at him because I know what the evidence is.
Defense attorney Eric Schwartzreich says McBean left his client with no choice but to open fire.
He did not obey commands, and he turned with a rifle towards deputies. What was Deputy Peraza supposed to do? Was he supposed to go home in a coffin?
Now, right after that shooting that happened, we are told that these attorneys, they went back and they started looking at things, and that is when that picture resurfaced. There was a picture showing McBean's body with earbuds, and his attorney claims that he didn't hear those commands because he had earbuds in. Now tonight, the defense attorney, he is claiming it did not matter if he had earbuds in or not. He pointed a gun at a law enforcement agent, and that is why he was shot.
So in Florida, which is an open carry state, this brother Jermaine McBride, who was a computer engineer, was walking home with an empty air gun he had just bought from a pawn shop. So of course a black man walking down the street with what looks like a gun will make a lot of people call 911. A black man that even looks like he's practicing the Second Amendment will have the police called on him, whether the gun is real or not. And one white woman that called even said it looked like a BB gun. So several cops show up, including Deputy Peter Peraza. And according to them, this brother Jermaine Mcbean was refusing to comply. They said he was refusing to follow orders, but it turns out he had headphones in and he couldn't hear them. This brother didn't know what was going on. Now, this part of the story is where cops start to contradict the evidence and witnesses. This cop, Peter Peraza, said Jermaine Mcbean turned around and pointed the gun right at him. But why would somebody with an air rifle that was empty all of a sudden turn around and point a gun at the cops? On top of that, every single witness said that never happened. Out of all the cops that were there, he was the only one that saw him point the gun. He's the only one that pulled his and fired. He's the only one that saw what he saw, and the only one that feared for his life. But of course, they're going to do everything they can to steal cake for him.
The attorney for the family of a man shot and killed by a Broward Sheriff's deputy is outraged with the show of support that deputy received in court. Deputy Peter Peraza is charged with manslaughter in Jermaine Mcbean's death. CBS 4's Carrie Codd is live at BSO headquarters with the story. Carrie?
Rutabaga, that attorney believes Sheriff Scott Israel should apologize for deputies who applauded Deputy Peter Peraza at the Broward County Courthouse on Monday. But I'm told by BSO that Sheriff Scott Israel has no plans to apologize.
Thank you, guys.
There you go. How are you? There was applause when suspended BSO Deputy Peter Peraza walked into a courtroom Monday on a charge of manslaughter in the death of Jermaine Mcbean. The support came from Peraza's fellow deputies organized by their union. But the outpouring rang hollow for attorney David Schoen, who represents the McBean family and spoke to us via Skype.
There's nothing happy about this event. There's nothing to applaud.
Schoen believes the reaction was uncalled for.
It sends a tremendous message of lawlessness to see law enforcement officers, Broward Sheriff's Office deputies, communicating the message that that indictment ought to be ignored or ought to be rejected because it charges one of their own.
Bottom line, Schoen believes Sheriff Scott Israel should apologize for the scene to distance himself and his agency from the message Schoen believes it sent.
The sheriff has the obligation to send a message of law and order.
From a union point of view, we will always support our deputies.
Jeffrey Bell is the president of the union that represents Peraza and hundreds of other road patrol deputies. He said neither Israel nor BSO had anything to do with the support in court.
This was an off-duty scheduled event. again. The sheriff's office did not ask for this to be taking place. We did this on our own.
Peraza is accused of shooting McBean, who was carrying an unloaded air rifle in Oakland Park while walking home from a pawn shop in 2013. Witnesses say McBean never pointed the gun at anyone and couldn't hear deputies because he had headphones on. Peraza's attorney disputes that and says Peraza reacted properly to a threat. Jeffrey Bell says the union will continue to outwardly support Peraza.
We do support him, and we will be with him every step of the way until he is vindicated from these charges.
And the president of the union said they plan future showings of support at Peraza's court dates as this case moves forward. A BSO spokesperson told me that these deputies who showed up in court were there on their own time. They were simply supporting a co-worker. She told me that no BSO policies were violated.
Now, this cop, Peter Peraza, who was initially awarded after he shot this brother and received a standing ovation when he walked into court, but eventually they did charge him with manslaughter. And this cop, Peter Peraza, chose to use the stand your ground defense. And the judge allowed it and dismissed the case. Now, this ruling sets the precedent for cops to be able to kill somebody and use the stand your ground defense and get away with it, no questions asked. Now, this case went all the way up to the Florida Supreme Court, where they backed the original judge's decision. And now, based on this decision by the Florida Supreme Court, standing your ground is now a legitimate defense for everybody except for black people.
BSO deputy accused of manslaughter in the shooting death of an Oakland Park man is in the clear tonight. The state Supreme Court ruled today Deputy Peter Peraza was entitled to use the stand your ground defense after he shot and killed Jermaine Mcbean. Our senior political reporter Michael Putney has more from the newsroom. Michael.
Louis, BSO Deputy Peter Peraza has now been exonerated. The state Supreme Court today said that he had every right to claim self-defense under stand your ground.
He never should have been indicted, and he was always entitled to use stand your ground.
BSO Deputy Peter Peraza used stand your ground after being indicted for manslaughter in the shooting death of 33-year-old Jermaine Mcbean. Mcbean, who had mental health issues, was walking down the street holding an air rifle he had just bought. When he refused to drop it, Deputy Peraza opened fire, killing Mcbean.
I just don't see that.
The trial judge allowed Peraza to use stand your ground and dismissed the manslaughter charge. An appeals court agreed, and today so did the Supreme Court. It ruled law enforcement officers are eligible to assert stand your ground immunity, even when the use of force occurred in the course of making a lawful arrest.
Stand your ground gives you a mini trial in front of a judge instead of putting you in front of a jury where you argue your case there.
Today, Peraza declined to speak with us, but his attorneys say he is happy and relieved.
He was overwhelmed with emotion. It's been a long saga for the defense team and Deputy Peraza.
The office of Broward State Attorney Michael Satz calls stand your ground a bad law, and it doesn't allow a trial jury to hear the evidence to make a decision. After he was indicted, Deputy Peraza was suspended without pay. After he filed his appeal, he went back on the payroll in an administrative capacity. Now his attorney says he wants to get back on the road as a full-time deputy.
He loves his job. He's someone that signs up, wants to wear the badge, wants to wear the uniform, and he wants to serve and protect.
We just heard from BSO. They say that Deputy Peraza returned to full duty in September at Port Everglades. Today's Supreme Court ruling should give police in the state a little more latitude in the use of force when they are making arrests.
Now, this ruling also allows a cop to skip a jury and just have a judge hear the case to decide whether they should even be charged or not. And on top of everything else, it's going to make it that much more impossible to charge a cop with murder. In addition to the regular power they have, they also have all of these Blue Lives Matter laws backing them up. And now in Florida, and probably soon other places, they have the Stand Your Ground law to back them up. And of course, this cop, Peter Peraza, is right back on the force, right back on the streets patrolling. But you don't see all those people of color who's supposed to be unified with us speaking up about this. Because like it or not, we have no friends. And on top of the Stand Your Ground law getting this cop Peter Peraza off, this ruling also affects the case of the cop who shot that therapist, Charles Kinsey. This guy was laying in the middle of the street, spread eagle, trying to protect a mentally ill man, and the cop shot him anyway. And when he asked them why he got shot, they said, I don't know. The cop that shot him did get charged, but they pushed his case back further and further. Now, after the Supreme Court ruling, the charges against him could be dropped at any time. I don't see how that's self-defense or standing your ground, but I guess that's the defense he went with. But standing your ground applies to everybody but you. But the minute you talk about standing your ground, then is a problem. Now you're the threat. Because they know once we start standing our ground, there's nothing they can do to stop us. And you can't have a system without somebody to oppress. They know we are the biggest threat to their system. The problem is not enough of us know that. And we've let the fear control our minds. But until we do what we got to do, we're going to continue to get the same results every single time. At the end of the day, we all we got.
And I will get hurt too. Oh yeah, well you admitted it. Yes, you did, motherfucker. Put the fucking tear down. Put it down. Drop everything now. Yeah, you admitted it. Yeah, you fucking did admit it. Say it. I will not stop. Say it, motherfucker. Say it. Say it. Tell me what you fucking did. I didn't do nothing. And who else? We're bringing you all down.
Sir, do you need help?
Who'd you fucking kill? You told me you did it.
Sir, do you...
I didn't tell you.
Yeah, you fucking did.
Do you need help?
Brother, it wasn't.
I told y'all to fucking stop. I don't care if you're a Marine or not.
Wasn't me.
Then you fucking going now. Lay down on the fucking ground now. Get down on the fucking ground. Get down on the fucking ground.
Okay, give me a second.
I'm not fucking playing with you.
Okay, give me a second.
You want to kill my fucking family, you're gonna fucking die too.
I'm not gonna kill your family, dude.
Yeah, a motherfucker there answer.
Sir, calm down.
Okay, give me time. I will lay.
Lay the fuck down.
Okay, I will.
Lay the fuck down. Now. Lay the fuck down. Lay the fuck down.
Okay.
Lay the fuck down.
It doesn't matter, Robbie.
I didn't do it. You already admitted it.
No, I didn't.
And your bitch is gonna go too.
I don't have one.
I already know who she is.
Who is it?
Lay the fuck down.
I don't have one.
Lay the fuck down.
I don't have a.
I ain't fucking playing with you. You drop your fucking phone, faggot. Drop your phone.
Man, this is dropping my phone. What? Go. Cut that head off.
No, dude, you're gonna fucking stop too. I'm bringing you all in. You can think I'm Batman if you want to.
Sir, you need to leave. Just go.
No, he already admitted it.
Okay.
Call the cops.
You need to
I
leave.
admitted when I went to the Marine Corps, I had to do my job.
You're not fucking killing nobody else.
I'm not going
And
to.
the other ones killed people too, and I told them to stop. They said they shot them.
Thank you, man.
They told us you shot them, they shot them, and then went to go kill more people. Yeah, all of you did it. And you're not gonna fucking stop. No, you're fucking on, dude. I told you to fucking stop.
I have sworn. This been 19.
I love my fucking family.
I love my
Honestly, get your ass up.
Shut the fuck up, dude. Or they're coming for
brother.
you too.
No,
Shut the fuck
you're
up.
going to jail.
No, you're going to fucking jail,
You can't
bitch.
threaten me with that fucking knife.
I ain't afraid of you either, man. Fucking, you're fucking drinking a fucking public. You want to hurt people?
Who is he? Who is he?
He just admitted to killing people.
He doesn't deserve to be on his knees.
Yeah, I'm good. You good? This guy, I don't know.
You're not killing my fucking family. You're not winding them up, and you're not killing me.
No, you're good, man.
Did he try to kill your family?
Good, man.
People have been telling me they're going to, and it's gonna fucking stop.
Who was it?
Right down, it's all of them. They're ganging up.
When? Where's the? Was it recent?
They're coming.
Here's the guy. Where's the other guy? Was it recent?
Sir, we need your help here.
Don't reach in your pocket.
It's right here.
Hands out. Step over here. Step over here. I don't have any other weapons. Step over here.
Another person at knife point says her son suffers from mental health issues. Tonight she is speaking out and asking for help. This as police share new information about the violent encounter on Charlottesville's downtown mall Friday evening. NBC 29's Lottie Lockhart has the top story details live tonight in our newsroom. Hi, Lottie.
Hi there, Henry. I spoke with the mother of that man this afternoon at her home in Crozet. She says her son suffers from mental health issues as well as addiction issues, and that the system failed him. A warning, the video you are about to see is graphic in nature. Darlene Bird says her son, James Benjamin Jarrett, also known as Ben, held a man at knife point Friday night on Charlottesville's downtown mall. Bird says her son had been in and out of hospitals after an overdose in September forced him to try to get mental health help. Bird says that help never came, despite her attempts to let those working with Jarrett know about his issues and a knife he purchased in November.
And I was just trying to get him help and keep me safe, you safe, and people out shopping safe. My sons. And the pathetic and sad thing is that he's safe now. But he doesn't deserve a malicious wounding charge. He was very sick and didn't get the help.
Bird says her son started exhibiting mental health problems at the age of 5 and that his situation may have been made worse by ongoing drug abuse. The victim of that violent knife encounter suffered a cut on his hand. Bird says she's relieved he wasn't seriously injured. Tonight, police tell us additional charges are pending for the suspect.
Exactly what I fucking did. This bitch is really trying to stab him just because.
No, I ain't
yeah,
trying
you
to stab
are.
nobody. It's called self-defense,
Yeah,
you stupid nigger bitch.
Who the f you calling a nigger?
You motherfucker.
You're racist as fuck. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh, roll the window up.
Get away from me if I beat your ass, dude.
No,
Bro,
hell no.
I'm about to get mad. Beat her ass.
Hell no, no, it's not worth it, man. We're in a white ass town. No, I got this little dumb bitch on. Close your fucking door, bitch. Hell no. Call me a nigger and shit. What the fuck?
But come on, let's go, boys.
Shelly's scary.
See what fucking happens, you goddamn nigger.
We didn't do anything to her. She just lashed out at us. You're racist as what the
Hate on display for the holidays.
So this could happen to anybody else. Oh my god. Oh, roll the window up.
That car door slammed on the foot of 20-year-old Imora Robertson. She's the one filming. The woman on camera can be seen holding a knife and yelling the N-word at a black family during the parking lot dispute.
Exactly what I This is really trying to stab him just because.
No, I ain't
yeah,
trying
you
to stab
are.
nobody. It's called self-defense, you stupid.
Who the you calling it? My daughter was asleep and she woke up crying to some lady screaming at us.
The video on Robertson's Facebook page is sparking outrage. She says she was out shopping with her boyfriend, aunt, and 15-month-old daughter. She says the woman was angry Robertson's aunt had parked too close to her car. Keyswan Goodyear says the slurs started immediately.
Who are you talking to? Like, don't be talking to me like that. And I'm not trying to do that because everybody around me is white.
When the woman confronted them, Robertson says she slapped Goodyear and spit on him. That's when Robertson says the woman pulled her weapon.
You're racist as I wasn't really frightened for myself, but I mean, my daughter was in the car and I had told her that previously, like, my daughter's in the car, can you please leave? And she just kept saying, I don't care. And yeah, so that kind of frightened me because she didn't care that there was a child in the car.
Robertson filmed for about a minute before everyone got back into their cars.
You know, I was trying to not escalate the situation and try to remove myself and get out of there because I don't know what's going to happen. A bunch of white officers coming my way and I'm the only black person. I don't know what could happen to me.
McMinnville police confirmed they're investigating but haven't named or charged the woman.
Hell no, no, it's not worth it, man. We're in a white town.
On Facebook, Robertson wrote, "Racism is alive and here, right where we live."
She can go to jail or whatever the case might be, but something definitely needs to happen because she just got away with it.
Just insane. So Robertson called the police, and once again, they confirmed they're investigating this, but they're not yet commenting on the case. They also haven't named or charged the woman in the video. They are asking anyone with information to contact the McMinnville Police Department.
John! Wait! Hey! No! Get the police. Let her go.
Stop fucking playing with me. 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 Pussy ass nigga. Pussy ass nigga. Play with it. I'm on that shit. 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 I'm not going home. Get on that shit. Stop playing with me. Stop fucking playing with me. I'm calling the police on all that. Where my phone at? Man, where my phone at?
And I want her ass fired right now.
No, you're finna go to jail. You put your head right here
I
first.
told you. I was just asking you a fucking question, bitch. So you're gonna give me a goddamn refund.
You have seen the video here. A man attacking a female McDonald's worker in St. Petersburg over a straw.
And all new at 6, that employee talking from her lawyer's office just minutes ago to ABC Action News reporter Heather Lee. Heather?
Well, Wendy, Yasmin says she hopes people don't think differently of her. She wants everyone to know she is not an aggressive person, but she had to defend herself.
I didn't have no control of my body when he grabbed me.
It's video causing outrage around the country, showing 41-year-old Daniel Taylor reaching across the counter at this St. Pete McDonald's, assaulting an employee.
Like, I'm scared. Like, why are you grabbing me? I just didn't understand, like, what was his intention. Even though we were having a verbal conversation, I don't think it was that for him to grab me.
Yasmin James speaking about the incident for the first time since it happened New Year's Eve. She says Taylor was mad there were no straws on the counter, and after being attacked, James had to dial 911 herself because she said management didn't know what to do next.
Basically, what's the procedure to this thing? It's none.
It's why she's now working closely with her new attorneys to hold McDonald's accountable, saying they need to do a better job training their employees for situations like this. Yasmin hasn't been fired. They say McDonald's has welcomed her back. She doesn't feel safe.
It's like scary. Like, anybody can do something to me. Like I work so close with the customers. Now that everyone knows, and people don't agree with this, they can do anything.
Now, we did reach out to McDonald's again today. I had several questions that I put in an email to them and also over the phone. They did tell me that they were looking at my questions and that they would get back to me as soon as they had the answers.
I'm tired of seeing young black men shooting at each other in this community, in this nation. I don't understand it. I grew up in a time when people wore white robes and they shot at black people. And now we see young black men wearing black hoodies shooting at black men and doing a much more effective job than the Klan ever thought about doing. I'm sick of it. Of course, the only thing I can do is shout it from here. No one seems to listen.
One of the longest sitting judges in the state of Tennessee now getting national attention, and not the good kind.
It's because of what he said on the bench to a murder suspect. News 4's Carly Gordon joins us live in the newsroom.
Carly, a well-respected judge now being called a racist.
And it's all over social media. These are just some of the comments we pulled. You can see Preston McDougal says Wayne Shelton, the racist judge heard around the world. Then Mike from Michigan says someone in Tennessee needs to run against this racist. And yet you may be surprised to see who's standing by the judge tonight.
He's made Newsweek and USA Today. The headline, Tennessee judge goes on tirade about crime among black men being more effective than KKK. Judge Wayne Shelton was talking to murder suspect Vincent Merriweather. And here's what he had to say. I grew up in a time where people wore white robes and they shot at black people. And now we see young black men wearing black hoodies shooting at black men and doing a much more effective job than the Klan ever thought about doing.
My initial reaction was he was on point.
Jimmy Garland is the president of the Clarksville branch of the NAACP. And while many people are sounding off, outraged on social media, calling Judge Shelton a racist, Garland is standing by his side.
He's telling those young people, stop killing yourself. Stop doing the job of those that back in the early 30s and 20s and 10s, they did. wearing robes, wearing pointed caps. You don't have to do that.
So far, Judge Shelton hasn't returned our calls. Meanwhile, Merriweather's attorney now worries about how the controversy will affect the case.
I worry that not because of the judge's statement, but because of the actual issue that is underneath the judge's statement, that some folks might want to see him get convicted just to make a point.
Now, this isn't the first time Judge Shelton has compared crime among black men to KKK violence. He made a similar reference about a murder in 2015.
You want... Don't like niggas, President Trump, ooh, Obama, fuck you, motherfucking nigga.
Mickey, T, quiet.
Say it again. You're about to go to jail, you know. Good. You came to the wrong island with that bullshit. With your crackhead ass. You look like a crackhead. You look like a crackhead. Just one ugly crackhead who's about to go to jail.
Shut up. Over the nigger.
Shut up.
I'm over the guy's attention. You gotta pull up for a month. I work for you.
They did not steal anything.
They did.
No, they did not.
Really?
You gotta skip off that one. You gotta
are
sit
you
down.
doing Facebook? Recording it?
You have to sit down.
Are you recording it? The motherfucking nigger. You
Mickey,
nigger,
will you quit it?
Nigger, are you recording it? Put it over face. Fuck these motherfucking niggers. I hate them. I hate niggers. Hate them with a passion. Sure. Are we going yet?
Yeah, soon.
Hey, you big fat fuck. Quiet. Are we going?
Mickey,
are we
be
going?
quiet.
The nigger.
But I'm not.
What?
He may put up with you, but I don't have to.
I know, let's go.
He'll go when he's supposed to go. You be quiet. Sit there and be quiet.
Breaking news out of South Africa was a woman made history for being the first person to be sent to prison for being racist. Right? Yeah. Spoiler alert, she's white. And so there's this woman, I think her name is Vicky Momberg, and what happened was her car was broken into, and 2 policemen showed up, and these policemen were both black. And then she just went on a racist tirade against the policemen, a tirade. She was like, I don't want black policemen, but she didn't just go black policemen, she called them kafirs, right? Which is basically South Africa's version of the N-word, right? But it's almost worse than the N-word because in America, black people own the N-word. They're like, okay, we're gonna take it, we're gonna use it in hip-hop, we're gonna make it cool. In South Africa, people were just like, no. They're just like, no, we're not gonna do that at all. So it's another word, it's kafir, and we didn't use nigger because America had a trademark, right? And so then she said this to the cops 48 times. Like she was like, oh, I don't need you K's coming here, I don't need you, I don't need this. Like I want a white policeman, I want an Indian policeman, I don't want to be dealing with you monkeys. You guys, if I see another one of you, I'll shoot you and I'll run you over with my car. And she said 48 times is how many times she said the word. It's like, imagine someone saying that to a cop here 48 times, saying the N-word. Now, which is insane, because I mean, like, that's lenient cops in my opinion. That's like, because like the first 10, I think the cops were like, all right, you're angry, we get it. And the second 10, they were like, okay, I think you're racist. And then third 10, they were like, yo, you better slow down. Fourth 10, they were like, she's not getting to 50, is she? She's not getting to 50. And then 48, they were like, all right, shut it down. Yeah, and then she was arrested, and they sentenced her to 3 years in prison for saying that. Which is, but it's like, it's crazy, because like a lot of Americans, when they hear the story, would be like, but that's free speech. You can't arrest somebody for saying something. But here's the thing. I understand that completely, and I mean, it's a larger discussion to wrap your head around, but I will say this. You got to understand, in South Africa, after apartheid ended, like, white people were never punished, right? Like, it's not like the government was like, we're going to send white people to jail, and we're going to take white people's houses, and we're taking white people's money, and things white people stole. No. The government was like, hey, let's move forward, okay? Clean slate, let's move forward. let's get this country to where it needs to be. The only thing we're going to take away is this racist word. That's all. And then some white people were like, okay, but I just want one thing. Can I have the racist word back? And then they still want to use the word, and then they were like, no. And so that's, like, now this person has gone to jail. And what I find funny is, like, people who are online and everywhere, and they're like, this is a tyranny. That's what this is. This is oppression. Like, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, just don't be racist. I love how people make it like it's the hardest thing ever. It's not like you go to jail for, like, mistake racism. This is, like, hardcore racism. And people are like, I don't know how I can live in this country. South Africa has become a tyranny. I can go to jail for just being racist. Yeah. For saying a racist word 48 times to the police. Yeah. No, this is horrible. What am I supposed to do? Just don't be racist, that's all. Just don't say the word. They're like, this is horrible. I'm like, it's not actually that horrible. Like, I'm willing to bet if, like, you had that situation flipped. Imagine if a black person in America said, like, cracker to a white cop 48 times. I would have been shocked if they got to 15 before they got shot. That shit would have ended real quick. Be like, you cracker, bang, 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 bang. Be like, oh shit, what happened? I thought his words were a gun. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, that...